Emma Bray. I live in Tring, just outside of London. I've been a Pilates teacher for 15 years. My background before that was in counselling, so kind of I worked at a rape crisis centre.
Very cool.
And before that, I worked in the tech industry, which is, I know, right?
Yes. Were you in construction before that as well?
Do you know, but my actual degree was in environmental policy and earth resources. So,
of course it was.
Yeah.
And by the way, she makes a mean cake. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But
I'm a great cook, actually.
Talk about jack of all trades. That's pretty fantastic.
Yes. I guess no one could hide in your Pilates class. You probably know everyone's excuses.
Pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, I had I've like run a studio for kind of 8 years in the UK, and before that I was in California. I lived there for 7 years, and that's really kind of where I got interested in Pilates. I was faculty for Fletcher Pilates for kind of 7 years, and yeah, just recently kind of stepped back from that. So yeah, I've been on quite an interesting kind of journey through the Pilates industry, as it were.
Well, just curious to hear then, like, I mean, how did you initially find Pilates with all, like, you have such a cross section of careers leading up to it. Like, how did you actually find Pilates? And then what made you decide that this is going to be my next career step?
Okay, so I had a car accident when I was 8 months pregnant with my second son, which pretty much kind of wrecked my back. So I'm hypermobile as well on top of that, so that really helped. And I saw an osteopath, and she was like, you know, you should do Pilates. Actually, she didn't say it like that because she was British. She said, you should do Pilates. And then I was literally just about to move to the States at that point. So I went and saw a Pilates teacher. And to be fair, it was a bit rubbish. I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
And when I went out to the States, I kind of started doing Pilates then, and they had the machines, and I was like, ooh, machines. And then, yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. Just, I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't want to take painkillers all of the time. And it seemed to be the only thing that was giving me some relief. And then, because I was a therapist in the UK, just the way that it works in the US with all the different licensing, I would have had to have retrained again. So when I worked in tech, I put a bit of money to the side when I had my kids and said, I'll save that for retraining to do something else, because I knew I didn't want to go back into sales. So I thought, I know, I'll be a Pilates teacher. I love movement. It's really helped me with my back. I have these therapy skills. It's probably a good mixture. So yeah, that's kind of how I started. And it was useful as a mum as well, to be fair, that I didn't want to go back full time. I wanted to be around my kids. So I could, you know, I could do a little bit. It would keep me sane, really, from kind of kid talk all day. I get to talk to some adults as well. So yeah.
Yes, kid talk all day is a bit much. I mean, no.
It's like yes to all of that.
Yeah. I was on bed rest for 4 months, almost 5 months when I was pregnant with my son. And I just remember being like, Doc, when can I go back to work? I know I just had the baby, but can I go tomorrow? And he was like, no. I was like, but don't you understand? I cannot be in this house. And then he doesn't speak. He just lays there. The doctor was like, oh, God, this is what bed rest looks like. So I get that. I think that is more than fair of a motivation.
Yes, absolutely. I'm curious, too. Like you said that your first kind of Pilates class was like, wasn't that great. And I don't want to.
Nice.
No, yeah, exactly. And I don't want to hate on whoever that teacher was or what that experience was, but those are the experiences that inform how we present our Pilates, right? So when someone says their first Pilates class was awesome, or it was dynamic, or it was difficult, or it was boring, and I hated it, like all those things inform us when we have that new person walking in the door and how we're going to like I'm sure you make every class never boring or never dull. Like, you know what I mean? For that first person, because you know how you felt when you're like, it's not for me, right?
Yeah, I think I felt like I didn't really get it, really, to be honest. Like,
Okay.
she was explaining concepts and, you know, using a lot of technical language, and I was like, my back hurts. Like, like how is this going to help my back? And I kind of
Right.
remember like lying on something. She had like a little pump and was testing something or other, but I wasn't really kind of sure what was going on. So yeah, I would definitely say when I have new people in, you know, we have like an hour. I normally give my first session for free. I'm like, okay, you know, this is what Pilates is. This is where it came from. This is what we're going to do in the first session. And this is, you know, we're going to work together on a plan to kind of, you know, whatever it is they're coming to you for. So I'm really kind of like explicit about what's going on, because there's nothing worse than kind of going in somewhere and being like, and then, you know, you end up feeling a little kind of insecure, a little stupid, or
For
you know,
sure.
I don't want anyone to feel that way.
Yeah, there's two pieces to that, right? I'm sure Misty wants to jump on that too, right? Like those big technical terms and the no connection to your actual presenting problem. So
Yeah, no, I think that's a big deal. It's a big piece, right? So you went in with pain, and if you go in with that expectation, okay, I'm sure you were like, I don't know what this is, and I still have to figure it out, but you know, I at least want to feel something. I want to at least get the inkling that this is going to address my pain in some sort of way. Did you feel, as a person new to it, that was definitely coming in with a specific cause or reason for being there? Did you feel maybe not heard, or do you feel like this is just kind of the way that particular teacher approached the intro? Just, it was a more of a rote approach, or was it more of a trying to feel you out approach? Can you just glean from it?
I think back then, because it was quite a while ago. Actually, I've just seen my eldest son has just jumped on. So
that Matt Bray?
Yeah.
Yay. Hi, Matt.
Hey.
So yeah, I think like looking back, I think she was probably very new to Pilates. She was a fitness teacher first. And I think that she had this kind of new piece of equipment. She was super excited and stoked about using it on somebody that it might actually kind of, yeah. So, you know, I mean, I don't think it didn't make me not want to go back, but I do very clearly remember how it made me feel. And here's my son. Hey, Matt. Yeah. And that is really interesting, actually, you say that now, because I'm like, oh yeah, that probably did have like quite a huge impact on how I am with my clients when they first come to me. I do actually make quite a big deal about it. Like, people go, why do you still give them the first session away for free? And I'm like, well, because it's important, right? Because, you know, they might not like me. They might not like the methodology. You know, it's an opportunity for you to kind of just kind of figure each other out, like for them to tell their story. Yeah, sure. Because if they don't tell you their story, then it's going to come out during the sessions and it's going to interrupt with the process. So I think it's a nice opportunity for you to kind of,
And I love the fact that you said they tell their stories. I feel like that initial meeting needs to be much more about the client than it is even about the method. I mean, we'll get to that. But if we don't know what the client's needs, hopes, wants, desires are, whatever it is, then how can we reach them? How can we hold ourselves accountable? And also, how can we gauge how they're holding us accountable?
Yes. True. You know, and being honest with that thought, I have a client who I haven't trained for the last, like, since before COVID, and he's more of a personal training client than a Pilates person. And he just reached out to me. He's like, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's start again. I want to go 3 times a week. Starting April, give me the rah, rah, rah. Let's do this. I'm like, okay, good. I got it in. And he's like, for the first session, can we just sit down and talk? A lot's changed in the last 2 years.
Nice.
And in my head, I'm like, no, let's just go. I know you. I got your program. We can just jump right in. But to both of your points, even with the people that we're familiar with, they still want their story right now to be heard.
Wasn't that so important? The story changes daily. And so when we talk to people daily, you know, even though it changes daily, there's still kind of a certain level of stasis there, unless, you know, an anvil fell from the sky, sinkhole, whatever. But generally speaking, people are here. The more space there is between lessons, I know personally, the more time I allot for that connection. And some people don't want to connect verbally. Some people want to connect on the apparatus or on the mat, and that's okay too. We can get them rolling, especially if it's private. We can get them rolling and let them kind of open up that way. But I think, and this is just me personally, but that line of communication is so important that, I mean, I give kudos to that client for saying, can we just talk and open that up? A lot of clients I don't feel would be that blunt about, you know, we've been through a lot over 2 years and let me just tell you where I am. I think that's great. Absolutely. And that shows what a cocoon of not a cocoon, a bubble of safety and comfort you create as a teacher as well, that they want to open up to you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say for Emma too, like that must be what you're doing in terms of building that relationship right from the first session, right? Like that's, when you do it that way, that's the whole point of like, let's establish a relationship, figure out what this looks like so that can be part of this fitness journey as well.
Yeah, it's, I think I said in a message I sent you, it's, the lens on us is on the kind of the fitness, the movement aspect, but there's so much more to a person, right? There's the family, their stress, how they're eating, how they're sleeping, you know, and you can't tease that apart, you know, like body mind. The only way that the body and the mind are actually separate is when we say it. Like everything's so kind of intertwined. And I think getting, you know, an idea about what's going on for the whole of that person, you know, you can kind of make the session, you know, kind of more or better for them that day. You know, for simple things like they haven't slept well, they're getting over COVID, there's, you know, their child's going away somewhere, you know, their parents are sick, you know, all of these things impact the body. And it's important information gathering. So if you have this dialogue with your client that is more, about relationship building and more about, the whole of them, I think, you're more successful as a teacher.
Agree.
And can I give you, going back to your social work counseling days, can I give you a bit of a case study for both of you to kind of figure out here?
Okay, go.
Okay. So I have a male client who has brought in his 12-year-old daughter, and they are now working together and having these really fun sessions where she's like the strong one. So she's like the flexible one and he's the strong one. And they're like, she's pinning them in these different categories and they're having fun. And it's a good banter between the two of them. They went away skiing on the weekend and mom got hurt because she's not exercising, and husband and daughter are now on mom saying, you should work out. You got to come out. We've been telling you need to work out. So now finally, she wants to come in. I'm having the conversation with dad about bringing mom/wife in for the session. Do we do a private session with mom, bring all three in at the same time, drop the dad so it's the mother and daughter, or
I have
whatever?
Thoughts.
I'm going to give that.
But I'm going to defer to Emma first.
Oh, thanks.
But you're the guest. I have to be polite.
Oh, and also, and those in the chat, those who are watching, if you want to put your comments in, I'd love to hear your opinion too. Where would you take this? Mom and daughter, husband and wife, defer to someone else. Like, what would you do? How do you get this woman connected with the movement after being teased by her daughter and husband that she's not working out?
I would definitely go with the mum one-to-one. I think that's the best way in. Yeah. And then, you know what? Maybe the dynamic, maybe she's kind of not at the same place as them. So you don't want her to go into the group feeling like, oh, I am really rubbish. Actually, you want to kind of build her confidence to the point that maybe she might want to join them, or she might enjoy the kind of the one-to-one time. And that daughter dad time is really precious. Maybe that's the only time that those two get to kind of hang out. You know, there's a lot in there.
Sure. So Misty, I'll let you answer, and then I'll throw in the other part to this, because there are some. We did talk this through for a bit.
Oh,
there's a part two. Yes.
So I definitely agree. Mom's got to have her own private time, because there's been a long time barrier to her wanting to put herself in this environment. And so working with her one-on-one may help you tease that through a little bit, understand if it's just, you know, I don't like to work out. My idea of working out is, you know, watching Dance Moms or something like that. Or it could be something that, you know, is really more deep-seated, heart-centered, that she's not yet ready to share with her family. Considering the father and daughter have that now, it sounds like, close, almost competitiveness in the workout, by bringing the mom in, it could dampen their fun and make mom a target. You know, I think that you give mom that space, and then when she's ready, she says, okay, I want to go back with those characters or not, but let her have that say, you know, based on the experience.
Yes. That's what I recommended. And he was saying, well, I like that mom sees, like, I like that mother-daughter bond, and just that female empowerment for her daughter to see mom working harder, mom taking ownership of that movement. I kind of want the daughter to see mom moving and getting strong as well. Like, much like she's been seeing me through this whole process, I want daughter to see mom going through this process as well. That's one part of it. And the other part is, I did a presentation at a group. They all work in the same place. So she's been in a group session with me, and she really enjoyed that as well. So she's somewhat familiar with what I do and how I do it. So that element of it being like this scary trainer person isn't there. So I think she has some comfort with me. So I suggested she come in just to get the language and get comfortable with movement, so she's not just the third wheel with the strong person and the stretchy person, and then there's mom, she can't do anything in the corner.
Okay, so has she done Pilates before, just other movement modalities?
She's done other movement group fitness classes, and the only Pilates she did was just the one session with me in a group class.
Okay, so firstly, that's great that the dad wants that for their relationship, but the mum has to have agency over what she wants, right? So I would be more I would, if she were my client, I would be like, okay, let's have a couple of sessions together, see where she's at, and if she wants to have that for her daughter, then great. But I don't think it's the dad's place really to kind of be saying what
well, this is
dad's place.
This is the other element, party people, that we have to talk about, is whether it's a husband or wife, the spouse that wants their spouse to start moving. He desperately, and that happens so many times. How do I get my husband to move? How do I get my wife to start exercising? And there was a catalyst that happened over this weekend where they're on vacation, where because she doesn't exercise, she got hurt early, had to sit around all weekend. Daughter was bummed out because she didn't get a chance to play with her mom. And then, you know, these daggers start flying. So it's one of these things where he's like, I just want her to exercise. And I'm speaking generally now. It's like, how do we motivate our significant others to move, right? So I'm trying to give him some space to say, I really want her to exercise, but at the same time say, give her my number and let her own this process.
So that being said, I mean, I think that makes it even more critical that you approach the mom individually that the mom actually gets hide their beer and wine.
Yes.
That the mom gets to have her own customized experience without the two yahoos who are probably very lovely. I don't mean Yahoo in a bad way, but what I do mean, again, it's not easy when you are and I just speak this because this is kind of the experience in my home, right? My partner is allergic to working out and he just refuses. And so I think with this mom, if you say, let's just do 5 privates, let's start with 5 privates, and then we'll reevaluate. Make it so that the dad's choice is almost removed. If by 2 or 3 lessons in, you say, oh, you don't need those other 2 privates. If you want to work with the fam, let's do it. But that makes it look as if you're steering the ship.
Yes.
It gets mom off the hook for being the bad guy.
Yes.
Because if they're already mad at her because the ski trip was waylaid because she had to sit on the sofa and watch Netflix, then there's more at stake than just the workout at this point.
Yes. Right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in a household where my father was military, so you know, he was very, very physical, like in his job, and my mum just wasn't, and she really struggled, you know, with her weight, like all, you know, even like now, you know, she's been on every diet. I've seen every diet known to humanity. The peach Melba ice cream one is the most interesting.
I mean, can you give me notes on that one? Because, you know.
But, you know, you know, in relationships, you've got those relationship family kind of dynamics.
Right.
That have like landed themselves right in your lap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a friend recently just about almost the need for you know, people who work in movement to have a little bit of like counseling skills, like that, to you know, to have this as like part of the training, because you know,
yes.
We're not just dealing with the movement, we're dealing with people and, you know, all the different colors and things that come with that. And if you don't handle a situation like that well, you know, you could really, you could kind of like damage what's going on at home, as you know, also.
Ooh, you said a mouthful right there.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that if Pilates teachers were really paid what we were worth, you know, if we got that counseling fee covered, you know, we would definitely all be in a much better place.
Yes. It starts with listening, though.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
And when I say listening, not just waiting for a gap in space so you can get your words in, actually listening to what they're saying, not just waiting for the gap to give the answer, but actually listening to what they're going to say.
And what they're not saying.
And what they're not saying. And what their body is saying, which is contrary to what they're actually saying.
Yes, yes. For sure. And that really comes out when you're talking about family relationships in the studio too. I've had some situations where, you know, the whole family came in. And there was always one person that was like,
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is our family time, Mom said. And, you know, that speaks a mouthful. It's like,
right.
Oh, okay, how can I make this fun?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how can I make this enjoyable for everybody when out of the 4, there is one that would rather be on fire right now than be standing here next to a reformer? And, you know, that's my job. And granted, they have to meet me halfway, but, you know, we always make it work when there's at least this much will. When they're this willing, we can make that work.
Yes.
When they excuse themselves to the bathroom at like 5 minutes in, they don't come out until 1:45.
Yes.
Not so bueno.
Yes. So then in those situations, Emma, it's like we have those relationships, we're looking at those dynamics. How much of that stuff do you dive into? Whether like you pick up on a splinter relationship, or you pick up on a nutrition challenge or a sleep challenge that is beyond the, you should be getting 8 hours of sleep, or you should be drinking this much water type thing. Like, how much of that do you dive into, and how much of that do you start to hand off to people in your world, to, like, referrals?
So I think that the languaging of it is really important. So I wouldn't say you should be, did you know, you should be drinking blah, blah, blah. It would be more, she says that and I can't think of anything what I'd actually say.
I know.
It might be useful to, like, have you thought about, I'm really, I try to be really mindful in how I speak to people and what words that I use to people.
Yes.
And I'm kind of one of those annoying people that kind of does lots of courses and everything. So I have a, nutrition diploma. I've done,
That's
yoga.
shocking, actually.
There's a lot that I have done. So, and the reason I did that was because I just found that people were asking me stuff a lot, especially about nutrition, which I found really interesting. But then I guess, of course. And I wanted to give people an informed opinion rather than just my opinion. So when people do ask about nutrition stuff, I'll be like, I've done this, but it might be really useful to look at X, Y, and Z. I'm much more into like intuitive eating rather than just like a diet, as it were. Yeah. But I always hand off like anything osteopathic, doctor, those things I'm really quite boundaried around. I do recommend therapy quite often to people, and I got into a bit of a debate today with a yoga mentor that I have about this. She was thinking that it was, for her, she wouldn't do it because she felt that it was telling somebody that there was something wrong with them. And I was kind of like, well, if they had something wrong with their shoulder, you'd refer them to a doctor or to an osteo. So why do we have this, this
stigma
thing around mental health? Like, why isn't it, why isn't it something that we can recommend? Hey, it might be interesting for you to look at maybe a talking therapy, or, if there's something, deeper than that, some EMDR. It's like, there's so much stuff out there, and if it can help, right? Because that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to, help people to be the best versions of themselves, right? So, that's generally what I do.
That's good. No, there's that stigma, right? Like, I mean, I think that I like the fact that people are talking more about seeing their therapist or seeing their counselor, and normalizing the conversation around it, so that when you have to have those conversations, people know someone who is seeing someone who is seeing some results, because people are talking about it. And they're like, that's a good suggestion. I know someone, I'll ask them for a referral, or you send them to your person, and it's a more palatable conversation to have, right?
Yeah. And I also think if you've been in therapy yourself, like I've been in therapy since my 20s, which is about 150 years at least.
That was a Misty exaggeration. Welcome to the conversation.
For 170 years old, you are fabulous.
Fabulous. There it is.
But just normalizing things as well, you know, and the fact that, talking therapy might not be the thing that somebody needs. It might be something more body-centered. As I said, there's lots of options, but giving people those options, not leaving them feeling like, they're stuck or they're helpless or that there's something wrong with them. Those are they're the things that really upset me.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think that's really irresponsible of a teacher.
We talk about a lot of very personal things in Pilates anyway. I mean, we talk about the pelvic floor. We talk about things that really are just physiology. Like, these are our bodies. These are our minds. These are things that we exist in every day. If we can talk about those things, why can't we talk about seeing a therapist? Or, and again, it's not you saying, I think you're schizophrenic. Good luck. It's not that. It's, we are working on, you but you may want to up level that, take it a step farther forward, and talk to somebody that can help round out the whole package. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I actually think it's important if we see somebody struggling, especially if we see somebody struggling, to recommend it. There are people who tell us more than they tell anybody else in their life. And we have to accept that responsibility, I think, not by becoming their therapist, by saying there's other options out there and I don't know enough to help you at all.
Yeah, even having that boundary as well, like going, I'm not a therapist.
Safely.
But, you know.
For sure. Well, and Emma, just before we came online too, we were talking about, some of your messages for your people, and you were talking about exploring different areas. And one of the ways that I interpreted that was there's different opportunities for growth, different opportunities to strengthen yourself in different ways. So if I was talking in a physical sense, I may say, okay, I'm really strong as a Pilates person, but I need to work on my flexibility or my mobility, or I'm really super bendy, I need to work on my strength. So my opportunity of growth is over here. So that conversation can move into mental health as well as to say, like, it's not because you're stuck or because you're probably bipolar, so go talk to somebody. It's more like, this is an opportunity for growth for you. Might want to explore diving deeper on this conversation with a therapist, deeper than we're going right here, so that you can grow. So it's almost like in the same way I would have a conversation about strengthen your body, strengthen your mind, or mental wellness by exploring over there. So like, I think framing the conversation that way could be a good opportunity for some people as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. As I said, like normalizing it and just offering, like, the fact sometimes what I notice is the fact that you've noticed, is enough for people to be like, or, quite often I've had, I've not really thought about it, I've not really explored that before. And, I've had plenty of clients come back to me and thank me, like, thank you for suggesting that. Actually, that's kind of what I needed. And the stuckness that was going on in their body actually was a mental stuckness.
Yes.
And that freed the body up. And I'm not saying that's true for everybody, because of course it's not. But in these particular individuals, I quite often see that mental stuckness translate into something.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I have to say with that too, Emma, like you with the counseling background, myself with the counseling background, it's pretty comfortable sometimes to have those conversations with people, because if it goes somewhere, you can handle it and navigate it. But sometimes you don't even have to go there. The fact that you start the conversation and listen to people, they talk themselves through it.
Yeah.
Or they recognize that this is a safe place where they can just have a conversation, and that conversation in and of itself is helpful. Yes. So I just want to encourage those who are watching sometimes, like, don't feel like you're not equipped to have these conversations. Just know that creating a safe space and being a listening ear sometimes is enough for people. And just kind of circling back to that ski trip case study that we just had, I think that's how this came about with my conversation with this guy about saying, my daughter's getting older. How do I stay connected to her?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what brought in, maybe I'll bring her in. And then this whole kind of sprawling dialogue, it started with just a one-off conversation about, what do I do with a growing daughter? And how do I stay connected to someone who wants to talk to her friends more than cuddle with daddy now?
Sweet. It's really sweet.
It's really sweet. Yeah, I think, just talking to
that
her.
Goals right there. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Sorry, it's talking with your people.
Just talking, like, just listening to your clients, just actively listening, like you say, picking up on those cues, those things that they might not discuss elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
And establishing that safe place where they're okay with feeling.
You know,
You know, I was listening to something today, and I think it was Oprah. I don't know. I was only half listening, actually, to be honest. But she said that vulnerability is such a bad word, and especially in Western societies, because if you feel vulnerable, you feel like you're exposed, and then someone's going to capitalize on that. And I think that there is a lot of truth to that, right? But I think when we're not even allowing ourselves to accept the vulnerability in ourselves, not even talking about expressing it outwardly, but expressing it inwardly,
yes,
that's when we get what Emma was talking about, right? These blocks that, you know, feel like physical blocks, but they're really something that we've created energetically or mentally that keep us from achieving or moving forward or keep us out of pain even.
yes.
And when we create that space, that bubble, whatever we want to call it, where people can feel comfort and support, things tend to move better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Indeed.
Sorry.
How are you doing, Emma?
I'm good. I was going to have a coughing fit.
Okay.
So I'm just got one of these in my mouth, just so I need a couple of seconds.
Do your thing. We were supposed to have a special guest drop in at some point too.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe.
I've not seen this guest in the chat here.
No, she's teaching.
Oh.
I think she's teaching for another minute.
Another minute. This is
Maria, so nice. I was like, so we would have all of the M's on today.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my parents always, or people that know me call me M. So I was like, see, I fit into just...
You make the cut.
Yeah. It works.
Oh, so I have a question for you both.
Yes. Fire away.
Mm-hmm. So I'm really interested what inspired you both to start kind of like your Insta lives, because Martin, you do yours like every day, right?
5 days a week, yeah.
Yeah, that's a commitment. That is a
stamina.
The stamina.
Quite phenomenal.
I don't downplay it like it's not a big thing, but it gives me energy. Like when we had nothing to do, it was easy to do. And then when I had stuff to do, I kept that time slot. So 9:30 to 11:30, I don't book clients. This is my spot. This is my learning. This is my personal development. This is my recharge. And it just gives me energy. And I've done it long enough now that even on days when I don't have clients or I've been too busy to book in like back-to-back people every single day, the freestyles were like yesterday where I have like 4 rock stars on my freestyle. So like even that's like energy, right? So it's become, it was easy emotionally and it's becoming easy technically to do it at this point. So
like you're kind of quite extroverted. You like the energy of other people around, or like what?
I did that Myers-Briggs thing back in the day, and that introvert extrovert thing, I was like 17 introvert and 18 extrovert. So when I'm with people, I need to get away to get energy, and when I'm by myself, I need to get around people to get energy.
It sounds similar, yeah.
I would agree, same way. Now, back in the day, I was super extrovert, like jumping off the roof, no pants, like that kind of thing. But as I've gotten older, I have definitely
You've put pants
applied pants on.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a scarf on, wearing gloves, you know, the whole nine. But I'm kind of similar in that it was a way to connect. When Nikki Taylor Stewart and I started Thought Flow, we had a lot to say and no one was around because it was COVID. And hi, Tammy. We keep it going because we just really love there's just something to be said to having great conversations with people that in our regular day we just don't get a chance to talk to. And it's really still one of the most fun things I do in my week. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And then doing this with Martin, of course, because he's the Sultan of Smooth. It's easy and fun. So
yeah.
The Sultan of Smooth, man. I'm sure that someday.
Misty is just like, I can see her glowing because someone has just caught on to her catchphrase.
I would rebrand this show the Sultan of Smooth Chats a lot. Whatever.
Yesterday. You would have done that yesterday. Man.
100%. I can see the logo already. I mean, it's a thing. Alex would agree.
Emma, my wife mailed Misty a t-shirt with that on it because she loved it so much. And I'm so glad that she does not wear it.
See, as soon as I find that t-shirt, I'm going to take a picture and I'm sending it to Emma. In fact, I might just post it all over the internet because I can.
Yeah, just have cool conversations with the Sultan of Smooth, right? That works.
I feel like it's very simple that way, Mark.
Where's Maria when we need someone to have this conversation?
There's the introvert coming out. He's
right.
into his
turtling. Yes.
I'm just gonna WhatsApp her.
Yeah. So it's funny. I think one of the things I always celebrate with this though, like, is the conversation that Emma, like, where we have these lives and it's just like they just evolve into deeper and deeper relationships and friendships and banter and you know what I mean? Like we text, we talk, we email, we phone. Like it's not just let's wait for the next IG live to have a conversation, right? Like yeah, so it's all good.
Yeah, there's just so many ways to connect. I find myself
if you want to connect.
Finishing on Insta and then
yes, for real.
You know.
Yeah, that's made it a little tough because I'll start a conversation with someone and I'll be like, oh no, I can't find it.
Yeah.
Because I've communicated the same thought on 5 different media. And it's just,
right.
Yeah. But at the same time, how fortunate is that? It's nice to be able to stay connected, to meet people from everywhere and maintain that connection. Time zones be damned.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's like kind of like what you call them? Those bushes in the desert that go across.
Tumbleweeds.
Tumbleweeds. There we go. Don't have much desert over here.
Yes.
Fair.
Nothing from Maria. So the other question that I want to ask you both was, what would you like to see, or what direction would you like to see the Pilates industry go in the next kind of 5 years? I know that's a big one. Yeah,
it's a long.
I'm really curious because it's really, you know, I feel like the landscape is really changing quite quickly.
It is.
And
that is. That is a whole conversation's worth of conversation in an answer right there. But I'll take a stab at it. I like where it's going based on these conversations where people are talking more inclusively, talking more broadly about the dialogue about Pilates and where it fits in the fitness conversation and in the kind of global conversation in terms of who we are and representation and stuff like that. So I like that those pieces of the conversation are becoming more normalized. So I just see it kind of on that trend where it's not a special thing to see a certain person speaking at a conference, or it's not a special thing to see a certain way of Pilates being taught. Mm-hmm. Or that there's like when our clients are taught that the education around, you know, body sizes or abilities or skin tones and stuff are more normal parts of the conversation from the teacher training place forward. So like, it's not like you get your certification, you go out in the real world, and then you realize that there's all these different things that I wasn't taught that I now need to talk about.
Right.
That's woven into the education of the next teacher coming up.
Yeah. I appreciate that as well. I think it's been a long time coming. While I do think we're starting to see change, I think that as with any change, if it's not really meticulously and intentionally mined, it's not going to continue because, again, old habits die hard. So I think that's a huge piece of it. But and this is going to lose me friends, I'm sure, but I'm okay with it. I think Pilates I think there's a bit of a schism forming that was bound to happen, right? So we have our fitness Pilates type up by Thursday crew over here. And then we have our deep feeling, needing, breathing, trauma-informed, somatically inclined camp over here.
Yeah.
And I do believe that while both sides can benefit from the other, I think that as there's more big box Pilates out there, as there's more certifying, air quotes, bodies out there that do different things that get farther and farther away from what Pilates actually is, I kind of feel like we need to be better at defining what Pilates is, capital P, and then what lowercase p Pilates is, and be very, very clear about the difference between the two. And, you know, we see this when somebody comes into the studio and, you know, they've been doing CrossFit for like 17 years. They've been doing what they think is Pilates. They come into a Pilates studio, they don't know anything, and they're not inclined. They don't want to know what people in the other camp are doing. That's not what they want. They want to be murdered in class, and that's it. And if we don't get it clearer with it, it keeps things muddy. And then on top of it, there's no leadership at the top of the industry, wherever that is and whatever that is. So, you know, that it doesn't get better until somebody takes the helm. That's just my opinion.
And if I could add to that, I feel like too, that is part of the reason. There she is, as so funny, Maria. I think that's part of the reason why I continue to do these conversations, because the conversation is not over yet.
Right.
The conversation is not over yet. It's a continued conversation, and there's no leadership from the top. And I feel like the three of us in this room are leading from the middle, right on the front lines, right in the thick of it, not talking like someone who is, from my pedestal on high, and I've been training for 700 years, Misty exaggeration, and I know what it's done, and I haven't trained anyone in 6 weeks, but you know what I mean? Like, we're right here. I trained someone this morning. I'm speaking to it. Mm-hmm. That sort of thing.
That's not me. Hold on.
To say, Maria, something happened to you over the pandemic.
Wow.
You got very
sweaty. I know.
Missy, you got like a hard stop. I got to jump off too. So this is like the quickest hello and goodbye, Maria.
Oh, no, you're right. It's 10:30. Oh.
Okay, I got to turn around like this. I can't figure out how to, I can't figure out how to turn my thing around.
It's totally fine.
It's totally Maria.
I know.
Love.
Hi, gang. Okay, wait. I gotta figure this out. This is dumb. Okay, goodbye. Hold on.
Wait.
I'm leaving.
But no, we've got to go.
But wait, we can. I invite everyone in the chat to go into YouTube and check out my core conversations. And every time Maria's come on, it is a comedy of technical challenges. Guaranteed.
It's very, very true.
I love it.
Yes. But we love Maria. Martin, we have to schedule
fun.
another one so we can, the four of us, get together. Well, maybe 3.5.
That's what we did today.
Yes, yes. So that would be lovely because I love chatting with Emma always. And Maria.
Hi, it works.
Yeah, but we have to go.
Hi.
Maria.
What do you mean you have to go? You don't have to go. I just arrived. Oh, no swearing. Well, nobody just what I missed the whole thing. I thought it was an hour.
It started an hour ago. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
you know what? You're still the best, and we still need to reschedule this.
So much. Yes.
So.
Man. I miss all the good parties.
But your hair looks great.
Because I'm teaching. Oh yeah, thanks. The hair looks great. Okay.
You look awesome.
Okay, goodbye. You guys all look great too. I'm sorry that I missed the party.
That's okay. We love you anyway.
Emma, move to Barcelona.
Yes, I'm trying to. Like the visa.
Oh, I know.
My favorite city.
That's
all right.
I'm
coming over to teach. Maria, you we'll put that together.
Just come over, you guys. Okay, goodbye. Go teach. I finished. I'm done for the day. I'm done. You guys go teach.
Have a great week, everyone.
Goodbye. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Emma. Thanks, Maria.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Sure.
We got to see your smiling face, so it's all good.